Hey there, my name is Beck and the Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring that little bell so you're notified when new videos drop. And this is the another one in the ongoing reviews of the Alan Moore and Kevin O'Neill's League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. I finally got up to the end of Century. So, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen is a very different beast by the time you get to this point than when it started out. And I get that, and I understand that it has kind of alienated a lot of people loved it from the beginning. And so that's like interesting, and we are going to be talking about that within this review. But before we get there, can I ask you guys, can you hit that subscribe button? Thank you very much. I apologize for opening all my videos, asking you to hit the subscribe button, but it's just the nature of the beast. I actually am. I'm very, very grateful for everybody. I really am. Genuinely very grateful anybody who subscribes. If you subscribe, you're eligible to enter my weekly competitions. My weekly competitions are pretty darn good, if I say so myself. So what the prize is this week is an awesome Judge Dredd hardback graphic novel, MECHANISMO, or comic book, depends what you want to call it, because this is classic Judge Dredd, fantastic art, fantastic story. And all you need to do to win it, again, is subscribe to the channel, and in the comments, leave the hashtag, I am the law, because indeed, Judge Dredd is the law. Also, just for showing up, you don't even have to subscribe, but I would really like it if you did subscribe. If you don't have to subscribe, go check the video notes. There's a Judge Dredd audio download that you can get from the video link. This was made by a company called Big Finish, and you can't buy it anymore. It's out of license, out of print. I would suggest if you do download it, you do enjoy it, then and they ever do get the license back, which they're not going to. But if they ever do, go over to bigfinish.com and buy yourself a digital copy, so it's all kosher. And keep coming out back each week because I do a different audio download. Or something or other in my videos for each week. Fine, so let's talk about a League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. So, yeah, I have a theory. I have a theory that why and how the League of Extraordinary had changed as much as it did. And the reason I came up with this theory, because the final book in the series, Tempest, came out, and I started reading it, and I was baffled. So I went back right to the beginning, started reading it, but this time I didn't skip anything. I would skip a lot of the text stuff, a lot of the time in text stories. Didn't skip anything, and by the time you get to the Black Dossier, that takes some time. That takes a lot of time. But it's also necessary to understand the whole holistic world that the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen exists in. So I have a theory that Alan Moore just got so pissed off with people stealing his work and bastardizing it, he made a barrier to entry, which is a lot of work and a lot of intelligence. You've got to put a lot of work into reading these stories, which is so not like a comic book, but you've got to really love Alan Moore to. And is it worth doing it? That's actually a good question. I asked that off the top of my head. Is it worth doing it? I feel it is, because I still find it as enjoyable as I did from the beginning, when you didn't have to put so much work into pulling out the story. But that's just me for you. But again, I think that's Alan Moore's way of just stopping people making adaptations or ripping him off, make the reader have to work to be able to get to the story, which is where we are. So what is going on in the story here? This is chapter 3, 2009. This is the end of a 100-year story arc. Started in 1910, went to 1969 for the second part, 2009 for the third part. So the essentially overview is there's been a Aleister Crowley type figure called another one of the fun parts of League of Extraordinary Gentlemen is just going through it, trying to work out what Alan Moore is referencing. And really, I think if anybody's smart, they would commission a really, really detailed, ornate, annotated edition. So you didn't have to keep going to all these websites to try and work out what's going on. And get a real writer to do it, so they could be a little bit lyrical with it as they went. And like a Kim Newman, something like that. I really think that would go well, and that would be fantastic. So the story is you have this Aleister Crowley type figure who is surviving by putting his consciousness, taking over people, putting his consciousness into them, and then having their consciousness go into his body before he dies. So that's how he's been surviving, and he has this plan to create an antichrist, some world-ending apocalyptic child. And at the end of the second part, 1969, a disembodied Hadada who was trying to take over Mick Jagger, or like the Mick Jagger, surrogate, whoever it was, during a free concert to memorialize. Was it not Keith Richards who died? Who died? Was it Sid Moon, or is that Pink Floyd? Oh my God! I'm getting I'm having a real boomer moment. Whoever it was that died from the Rolling Stones. So the disembodied Haddo ended up living in a younger Tom Riddle, I believe. And it gets into the Harry Potter universe a little bit. But the story ends with Mina Harker having taken a lot, a lot of LSD, taking a lot of acid, has this incredible trip, has also been taken out of her body, and she's assumed to be insane, and she's institutionalized, leaving Alan Quatermain, who is now de-aged, unable to find him, and also the third member of the League, the immortal and transgender, a genuine transgender character, Orlando, who spends some time as man and changes, spends some time as woman, unable to find Mina, and without Mina, it jumps to 10 years later, about 10 in the middle of the punk, the punk era. Alan Quatermain is falling apart. He's going back to being a heroin addict, which is basically how Mina Harker found him. And Orlando leaves to go and fight in some wars again. And the League is effectively completely destroyed. Mina Harker is in an asylum, drugged out of her mind, and not being able to escape. Alan Quatermain ends up being a junkie, and Orlando is now fighting in some war overseas. So we start off with Orlando, and he's being discharged from a war from Iraq, I think in 2009, after going on this insane killing spree. And he comes back to England, and he goes back to the secret hideout that they were in 1969. Secret hideout was this is one of the reasons you got to read the text stories as well, because the secret hideout was this superhero base which Mina Harker was a member of as this invisible person. But nobody knew she was female, because she had a voice changer. So he goes back there. Then he tries to clean up, pull himself together, and he's visited by Prospero. Prospero is not very happy. Prospero, the leader of the Burning Realm, the fictional place where all fictional entities go and coexist together. Again, this is the reason why I found you to appreciate the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. You really had to read it carefully to get an idea of the entire timeline, to know what happened in the world, what happened in this universe, to understand what's going on, and who is who and who is what. So Orlando is visited by Prospero and says, "What's going on? We got the apocalypse child coming. You've got a mission that you dropped." So that forces Orlando to go to MI5, who's now headed up by an older Emma Pill, who we last saw in the Black Dossier, who was very very young, and the James Bond, the Jimmy Bond in that, is now impossibly old, but he comes in at much more in the Tempest. That's a review for another day. So Emma Pill helps, and there's a great little cameo by Purdy from the New Avengers, which I really enjoyed. I just really like, again, this is the fun of League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, seeing all the little bits of pop culture, which is in every single panel. Absolutely fantastic. So he eventually finds Mina Harker, and you've got to have read the text story to understand this collage that she's been working on and what it is. But we'll get the text story at the end, and then they happen to find a disheveled, drug addicted Alan Quatermain, who says, "Listen, I can't help. I'm not doing any of this anymore. I can't. It'll destroy me." So together, so Orlando and Mina go together. They find the time traveling guy Norton who exists inside London, and he's finally actually a bit of help in this chapter. Finally, a bit of help, and he leads them to King's Cross, the platform was it 9 3/4 from Harry Potter, and they go to, and then they enter into the Harry Potter universe. And the disdain that Alan Moore clearly has for Harry Potter, while knowing it very, very well, is very, very clear. They talk about like the devastation on the cultural landscape that this Earthstats reality really is. Just the pure disdain he has for it. It's really it's so overpowering. So it turns out that Harry Potter is the Antichrist, is the bringer of the apocalypse, but he's a kind of a crap one as well, which is just so funny. I really, really love that. And it ends up with a massive showdown, leading Alan Quatermain returns, leading to a shocking death and the appearance of Mary Poppins to help save the day. Yeah, which is kind of what you would expect from a League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. So and it ends in Africa on this is about a good 11 years old. It's not. I don't feel like I'm spoiling it, but I really don't want to get into open spoilers. Yeah, so ends in Africa over the grave of somebody who shockingly dies at the end of this volume. And you kind of finally get to understand what Alan Moore's been trying to say with this entire volume, which is kind of like the degradation of our cultural landscape, of our shared cultural landscape, through our laziness and stupidity. I really, that's basically the vibe, the message I get from it. They have the final part, the text story, Minions of the Moon, which is really funny. Again, a lot of work. His writing style is so dense; it's just a lot of work to get through. But essentially, the story is the giant insectoid Selenites from the first men in the Moon. They view the body of Professor Cavor, who made Cavorite, as a deity. But there's the Amazon women on the Moon also want that body so they can get the semen out of him, so they can then procreate, causing a massive war between the Amazon women and the Selenites, which is eventually resolved by finding the body of Moriarty that's been floating in space since the end of Volume 1 after grabbing onto the Cavorite and flying up. And then they pull the Moriarty's semen out of his frozen testicles to use. An interesting solution, but one I feel kind of definitely works. So this is all dependent. Is it worth your reading? It's all dependent on how much you like Alan Moore, how much work you want to get into to accessing his work. I found it rewarding, and I found it so rewarding when I put it down. I immediately picked up the first of the of the Nemo books. What's the one? The Heart of Ice, which will be the next review. But again, there we are. We're up to the end of the end of the century. Next review will be Heart of Ice, and I just started reading Roses of Berlin as well. So expect more as we trudge towards till I get to 10%, and we can finally have a final. So we've got 4 more to go. Then I think I might start on the Providence book. So there you go. My name is Sheila Beckett, the Rabbi from Another Planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring that little bell so you're notified when new videos drop.